Hey, Dad.
What?
I can't help but notice that you kind of got a dad bod.
I like to think of it more of a father figure. Good morning. I do mean morning. We're up bright and early today. It's going to be kind of an adventurous day for me. I have found a project car. We're going to go after it today. I'm actually going to go out of town, actually out of state, to go get this thing. Found it on Facebook Marketplace, been in touch with the guy. It's been kind of a back and forth trying to get things worked out, but we're actually going to go after it today. Going to go hook up a tow dolly, and I got the truck all loaded up. I spent some time last night getting tools and different things together that I think I'm going to need for the trip. And Lord willing, we'll have a good, safe trip going after this car. Hopefully everything pans out. We'll be able to have a new project for the Daninator channel. So without further ado, let's go meet my father-in-law. We'll go hook this thing up to a tow dolly. So come along with us.
One's not on. Put your turn signal on.
No, it's out, isn't it? Alright, we got the lights come on. Now it won't flash.
Now your left is working, the back are both working.
They're both blinking.
So what we got is a short right there, so we just have to live with it.
Okay.
If you go to turn, even if you go to turn to the right lane, just turn on your left turn signal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That way people will say, oh gosh, he's doing something.
That idiot doesn't know which way he's turning.
Yeah. They'll talk about you for 2 weeks, you know?
Alright then. We're all hooked up. Everything looks good. Let's hit the road. Alright, we are just almost there. We're about maybe 4 miles, 5 miles out from where this car is. So we're just gonna fill up gas tank, empty our bladder, and we'll be there in just a few minutes. Perfect. Well guys, here she is. I found and bought this 1999 Z28 Camaro off of Facebook Marketplace. It doesn't have an engine or a transmission, but it's complete otherwise. The owner pulled out the LS2 and T56 that was in it for another project. I didn't record much of the action when we got to the guy's shop out of respect for their privacy, and well, frankly, I was just really busy trying to get the wheels swapped and help push this thing onto the tow dolly. So as you can see, it's a convertible, and it's sporting 17-inch Pontiac GTO rims with virtually brand new tires. Overall, the car looks to be in pretty decent shape. It isn't beat to death, and it has a pretty nice paint job. Well, it's a 10-foot paint job, but nonetheless, it isn't eaten up with rust, and there's a lot of good parts on this thing. So what am I doing buying this car? Well, I've been kicking around the idea of LS swapping my V6 Camaro RS, and well, you just can't plop a V8 into a 4th generation V6 Camaro. The engine mounts and K-members aren't the same. You need a LS1 K-member. I figured the simplest and hopefully the cheapest way to swap a V8 into my car was to either find a wrecked Z28 or a rolling chassis Z28. I was perusing Facebook Marketplace and voila, this gem popped up. Again, it's kind of a long story from when I found this car to when I was able to finally take possession of it. That's it, it's in pretty good shape, it's pretty solid. We'll talk more about it when we get home. Alright, had two big semis drive by and blew this thing off the top of the roof, and it is no longer working. South end of a beef trailer.
Yeah.
It's not quite a smell like it. Alright, we've had a small casualty. Somehow the front grille has popped off this thing. Unreal. Everything looks good. Tire pressures are up still. That's good. It's been riding smooth. I mean, I kind of expected maybe to fight this trailer just a little bit. This Trailblazer has been a champ. It's pulled it quite nicely so far. We've been on the road for maybe 2.5 hours. Got a little bit of grub. We're going back at it.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
When we got in to take off to go, it kind of sputtered and it died on me. So fired it right back up, started to go out on the road. The engine was misfiring pretty bad. So we got to Advanced Auto Parts and they put a check engine diagnostic on the car. Turns out cylinder number 1 was misfiring. So I pulled the spark plug and it looked like it was fouled. And then we swapped the coil from cylinder 1 to cylinder 2. So we turned the vehicle back on, still running rough, of course. Pulled the plug off of the coil on cylinder number 1 and the idle changed. So then we put that plug back on, pulled the plug on coil number 2, and the idle did not change. So it was the coil. $70 later, here we are, back on the road, and we still got a few hours to go on our trip, and it's starting to get dark. So thank the Lord we found out what was wrong. I had the tools with me, had my father-in-law and the folks at Advanced Auto Parts help us out, and we're back on the road. So if you guys have been following my channel, you know I've got that parts Trailblazer. Well, I've got 6 coils sitting in the driveway, and I had to buy a brand new one, but hey, it's cheaper than a hotel stay, I can tell you that. Dang it, Daninator, you really ticked off that guy. He's riding your tail.
For the last 150 miles.
One last pit stop, potty break, chocolate milk run, and we'll be home. Everything's held up just fine. We've had a pretty uneventful trip except for the little cylinder misfire happenstance. New coil fixing that, of course. And that trailer's really done a good job of keeping the car straight. Didn't have to really fight it. Almost home. We got about another 40 minutes or so. We'll be there. Didn't get enough speed going up the driveway. They could just burn out my transmission. Oh, I may have just cooked the transmission pulling this car up my driveway. Oh well. I wasn't about to back down the driveway with this thing on the back in the dark. Long day. Got up early, left in the dark, got home late in the dark. I don't know why this trailer light stays on even though the vehicle's off. That's about all I'm going to do to deal with this thing tonight. I'm stinking tired, long day. I'm going to go inside, get cleaned up, go to bed. I'll deal with this tomorrow, get it off the trailer. Got to figure out where I'm going to park it. Anyway, super excited to have this car. It's kind of a long story, and I'll tell you about it at some point. Deal with the rest of this in the morning. Okay, well, next day, here we are. We're going to get the car off the dolly today. See just how dry and dusty our road is. The cat's already been all over it. It's christened the car already. But that's what we deal with on a daily basis out in the country on a gravel road. I'm going to move my Camaro, get it unstrapped, and drop it off the dolly. I'm going to try to attempt to do this myself. And then I'm going to put the car on the patio. Alright, before we went after this car, I took a tape measure and I measured these little wheel wells. And my car was just a little bit too wide. You can see that a full-size tire was not going to fit in this little cavity. Putting the spare tires on gave us a much narrow stance and it was able to go. But the trouble was, these straps that go over the wheels are meant to go over full-size tires. So what we ended up doing was looping it around this metal bar and then putting the little hook on the bottom side of the trailer. So we were able to get it tightened down just fine. It's just these little hooks, and it's designed to go on this bar right here. And then as an extra precaution, we hooked it underneath the front part of the trailer, and then we hooked it to part of the frame underneath the car. Just gotta get that unhooked, and then we're ready to drop this thing off the trailer. Go ahead and pull the emergency brakes. These rear wheels don't move. And then what I'm gonna do is get into the Trailblazer and pull forward. I gotta get the ramps underneath this thing, pull forward, and let this thing just roll off the trailer as I'm pulling forward. Alright, give myself a fighting chance and straighten the wheel out. Alright, the famous last words of a redneck. Watch this. sand it. Yeah, full send. All right, so we got the car off the dolly. Ramp still look good. Got into the bumper a little bit. That's kind of a bummer. Probably could have done this a little bit smarter. Actually, a lot smarter. I should have backed this thing up and pulled over here and did this. Oh well. Po Buddy's perfect. Slightly, not a whole lot. Turn. Turn. Okay, straighten it out. Brake. All right. Woo-wee! It's heavier than it looks. So thankful to have this donor car because it's a big step in the plans that I have for my RS. Now I realize I've been calling this a project car. That's actually inaccurate. This is going to be a donor car for my RS Camaro. I want to make this RS into basically my dream car. I like the 4th gen. I like the early 4th generation nose cones and the 4 headlights. I'm not a huge fan of the ground effects, but I love a hardtop. I'm not big on convertibles or T-tops. So this is not a project car, this is actually the donor car. I bought this RS, it's probably been, gosh, maybe 4 years ago. And a few years into owning this, I had gotten the crazy idea that I really want to make this a V8 car. And this is something I want to work on with my son, just kind of do something fun together and make this into something that I really want to have. And to make this thing happen, I decided to go after a complete roller donor car. It would have been great to have an engine and transmission, but this thing has everything I'm going to need, hopefully, to swap this car to a V8 car. This has the K-member, it's got the computer and the harness, it's got the drive shaft, it's got the radiator and fans, and it's got all the wiring and electrical stuff in the dashboard, whatever. These are drum brakes, these are disc brakes, so I'm looking forward to swapping that over. And with my Silverado at the end of the road, I'm going to be pulling that motor out of there, getting it rebuilt and refreshed, and put F-body parts on that 5.3, and with the help of this car, we're going to make this into my dream car and make it a V8. Now, one of the things that I need to consider is this is actually a 6-speed manual car. It's got the pedals in it and everything there, so I'd love to be able to convert my RS into a 6-speed car. That would be fantastic. But I've got the transmission and engine out of that pickup, so I could definitely keep this as an automatic. Of course, that transmission is electronically controlled, so I have to deal with the wiring and whatever to make that happen. But I'm going to keep my eye out. I'd love to have a T56 in this thing and make this a stick shift car. To me, that would make this my absolute perfect dream car. Hardtop, early 4th gen nose, 6-speed, leather interior. That would just be absolutely sweet. So those are kind of my initial plans. That's the thought anyway, what I want to do with my Camaro. And picking up this Z28 roller is a huge step in getting this done. I will go into more detail about what is in this car. I'll open it up and pop the hood, and I'll show you everything that it's got in another video. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk a little bit more about the whole swap and things. And so if you have any comments or anything about this project, leave them below in the comment section. If you have any suggestions or maybe ideas that would help this go well, whatever comments you guys may have about this project. I believe this is the very start of Project ZRS. Well, those are the plans I have for my Camaro. I hope you're just as excited about this as I am. I look forward to sharing this project with you on this channel. If you'd like to support this channel, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave some feedback. If you'd like to support it in another way, you can buy some of my merch on my merchandise store and the link in the description. Any purchase you make in the Daninator store helps fund crazy projects like this. So if you'd like to support this channel and look cool too, go ahead and pick you up a couple t-shirts there in the Daninator shop. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks again for coming along with me on this adventure of picking up the donor car and kicking off Project ZRS. As always, thanks for watching. God bless. Be sure and hit that like switch on your way out. See you next time. I cannot get this stupid thing to hold still.